LAMORTMON, the ultimate evolution of Angoramon, has finally made its anime debut in the 35th episode of Ghost Game. This guy looks monstrous in all the best ways, truly creepy, and we very much got that berserker rage beast vibe that many suspected LAMORTMON would have based on previous art. Once he evolved into Ultimate, it was no longer the poetic and philosophical Angoramon or the effortlessly cool Jinba Angoramon. LAMORTMON was a bloodthirsty Hulk who almost took things too far, just pummeling his opponent before someone intervened. Let's talk about the 35th episode in detail and unpack everything we saw, review the debut, and talk about the future of Ghost Game now that all three Ultimates are here. If you're new to the Digino, welcome. We talk Digimon every week. I just released my first ever what if style video. It's me giving a pitch for season 2 of Digimon Adventure 2020, really a 0-2 reboot set in 2022 that has to adhere to the lore and the rules established by Adventure 2020. Give it a watch if you want to hear how I would write a sequel follow-up to Adventure 2020 starring Davis, Ken, and the others. I also want to thank you all for helping me hit 27,000 subscribers. August is my birthday month, and all I want for my birthday is for you to subscribe to the Digino if you haven't already. Now on to the episode discussion. We start off with a man we'd never seen sprinting through the woods, checking his phone and tripping. He's attacked by some kind of beast, and an old woman we don't know yet comments that it marks 100 years, the night of summer rain. We then cut to our team who's on vacation in the hometown of Ruli's grandmother. People are giving them weird looks, probably because of their hologram ghosts, their Digimon, but this isn't just rural, old school people being anti-technology. There have been weird occurrences recently in town, putting the townspeople on edge, people being attacked by a monster in the woods to be specific, and so the mere sight of Gamamon, Angoramon, and Jellymon may cause some stress to the townspeople. We learn that the town is basically stalked by a werewolf's rage, and to appease its anger, they offer a moon maiden once every 100 years. A Sukiono maiden was sacrificed 100 years ago as well, even though Ruli has never heard about this. Sukiono is of course her family name in case you're joining for the first time or forgot. If we don't offer a sacrifice, the werewolf's rage will never end. Angoramon asks if werewolves exist in the human world or if this is like a Digimon. If it's been going on for 600 years like the grandmother says it has, then this creature in the woods probably has nothing to do with Digimon and maybe actually is a real monster, he says. The team goes back into town to check out where some of the latest attacks were happening, and all the townspeople notice Ruli and kind of give her this weird look like, oh, that's the girl, that's the moon maiden or the potential moon maiden. Hiro and Kiyoshiro kind of ask what she wants to do, if they need to get out of here, and Ruli says she doesn't want to leave town as leaving because of some superstition feels like losing. She says that when suddenly they hear a howl and Ruli almost gets kind of like a flashback to a scene from the past. It's kind of hard to describe what happened here, but when she snaps out of it, she appears to be willing to be sacrificed all of a sudden. The whole episode premise is creepy and weird. Hearing a story about a maiden being sacrificed to stop a monster, but having this set in modern times, like not during feudal Japan or like a fantasy RPG, having it set in 2022, or actually technically presumably later than 2022, it's very creepy and odd that these modern people would be willing to turn Ruli into their moon maiden. But as it turns out, she's really only pretending to be sacrificed. She has a plan, and she also has Angoramon, Hito, and the others escorting her, so if things go south, they can of course protect her. Angoramon is not thrilled with the plan though, saying, quote, "I don't think courage and recklessness are the same thing," kind of scolding Ruli, but she insists that it's gonna all work out. Even though he's not thrilled with the plan, Angoramon promises to protect Ruli no matter what. As it turns out, our werewolf is Manticoremon, who should normally be with an angel Digimon, Darkmon. We have our werewolf. It's not a black Wergarurumon or a Gaomon form story-based Digimon. I know you were hoping for one, and I kind of was too. The fight against Manticoremon is really awesome. Battle Gamamon shows up, as does Tesla Jellymon. Tesla Jellymon even evolves to Tedismon for the first time since debuting. It's great to see her ultimate form in this fight. She's here to make an antidote to neutralize the poison Manticoremon is spewing that has infected Battle Gamamon, but the enemy is too fast and Tedismon herself is poisoned and downed. It's not all bad though, because she can use this to create an antidote, but she is kind of down for the count, at least for a few minutes. Again, the animation during all of this is really excellent for the combat scenario. Now it's just Jinba Angoramon up against Manticoremon, and he's beaten pretty bad until he shares a moment with Ruli. She says no matter what the crisis is, and then Jinba Angoramon finishes her sentence saying, "We break through it." This is of course when we go to Ultimate. We have the animation that's really pretty and exciting. LAMORTMON is awesome and absolutely brutal, almost goes too far, beating Manticoremon to a pulp when it's stopped by the angel Digimon Darkmon. It seems that Manticoremon ate the data of the local legend, causing it to believe it was in fact the werewolf, so it just played the part of a werewolf, is what Darkmon explains. Pretty soon after Darkmon intervenes, LAMORTMON just kind of reverses to Angoramon, and we don't really wrestle with LAMORTMON going berserk in that moment. It still may be a plot point of some kind later. LAMORTMON seemed transfixed on protecting protecting Ruli at any cost and was willing to take it to an extreme place. We even got a cut of Ruli's face going from excited to kind of concerned just before Darkmon intervened. I think a better resolution could have maybe been if Ruli was the one who jumped in instead of Darkmon to give it a more personal touch and to confront this dark side of Angoramon, but again, maybe that's coming later in the series. But it did honestly feel like if Darkmon didn't show up, LAMORTMON may have kind of killed Manticoremon. It really wasn't even fighting back while LAMORTMON was pummeling it. When LAMORTMON snapped out of it and reverted to Angoramon, I almost expected what the hell was that kind of scene, either Ruli asking it or Angoramon himself asking what kind of came over him, or maybe thinking he blacked out or something, but they just hug like nothing's wrong. I'm hoping that when LAMORTMON shows up again, he's not just suddenly tamed and under control, but that this berserker status is something we have to actually confront and conquer. The same can be said with Guluskavamon, who has not been seen since episode 21 in that battle with Arukenimon. I really hope we confront the dark side of these characters. I think overall I enjoyed this episode and its eerie take on a maiden needing to be sacrificed to stop a mythical creature, but happening in the modern day. Again, this wasn't a feudal Japan or a JRPG like I Am Setsuna. The fact that the modern townspeople were willing to let an innocent 21st century teenager sacrifice her life so that they could be safe was kind of disturbing and perhaps a damning examination of society over individualism, I guess collectivism over individualism. The townspeople being weirdly okay with letting one person die so that the rest of them could be safe from danger. Again, I would have preferred if I got to see Ruli jump in and intervene with LAMORTMON's violent beatdown as opposed to Darkmon intervening, and I'm hoping in the future we do have a conversation about Angoramon's dark side since we didn't have it in the Ultimate debut this week. But overall, a strong episode of Ghost Game for sure. Let me know in the comments what you thought, if this was a great episode or if you thought something was missing. I also want to give a little update on my plans for covering Ghost Game moving forward. I still do want to document and review episodes of Ghost Game just like we did with Adventure 2020, reviewing every episode, but I have to be real with you, and you may have felt it too. Some weeks there just isn't much to talk about, like episode 34 I wasn't crazy about, and I don't want to fake enthusiasm or hyper analyze story elements that rarely seem to go anywhere. So what I'm thinking is that some weeks, if an episode just isn't, an absolute banger, I may skip the video review that Sunday and then do a kind of 2-for-1 deal the next week where I review and discuss 2 episodes of Ghost Game in one video. This isn't actually new. If you watched the channel in the early days, if I wasn't feeling an episode of Adventure 2020, I would not make a video dedicated to that episode, and instead I'd touch on it in the next video I made. So let's say episode 36 comes out and I don't have a lot to say on it, I won't drop an episode review the next day, but instead, the day after episode 37 drops, my Sunday video will include my thoughts on both episode 36 and 37, again a 2-for-1. This should also free me up to work on other videos like the What If video, Digimon news videos, like, reacting to the 02 movie trailer once we get that, and also, in case you missed it, Digimon Survive is coming out next week, so I'm going to be pretty busy covering that game. So with all that said, I hope you understand, I think it's for the best that if an episode just isn't that hot, that I just kind of bundle it with the next episode and review 2 episodes in one video. It'll let myself slow down a bit for the final month of summer after all, and also let me focus on some of the side videos with the What If and the Digimon Survive stuff. Thank you for your support and understanding as always. Remember to subscribe, it's all I want for my birthday. Have a great week, and I'll see you in the next video, and enjoy Digimon Survive.